Welcome to the Business Owner Spotlight Series. My name is Gabriel Moore. I am the senior partner here at Action Coach Vanguard in Central Iowa. Today, I have Mike Rice, the co-owner of the Momba Group, as my guest. We're going to be talking about his business, his journey into their young business ownership, challenges, best practices, and share a peek into what it's really like to build and operate a business. If this is your first time on the channel, be sure to like and subscribe to get notifications when we drop new conversations just like this one. Mike, I appreciate you. Welcome, and thank you so much for being here today.
Gabe, it's a pleasure. It's great to be on with you.
Yeah. So we had a chance to kind of chit chat before the podcast, but and some of this might sound like you're saying it again, but I want the audience to hear a lot of this. Give us a brief overview of your background and definitely tell us a little bit about your business.
Yeah, no, I'd love to appreciate that. Yeah, so I like to call it I fell into the staffing business, the IT staffing business, 26 years ago. Um, I've tried to run away from it, but I can't. So I've been in it for a long time. Been in a pretty large organization, had my own, sold that. Yeah, it's been an interesting journey that we can certainly dig into. I most recently was the CEO of a company out in Ohio for the last couple of years, and that didn't end as anyone would have liked. Um, but I'm a super big believer in as one door closes, another one opens, and yeah, so I started with a partner out of Chicago, a gentleman by the name of Keith Giffney. We worked together at a couple of different organizations over the years. And yeah, so we started the Momba Group literally 12 weeks ago. So the Momba Group is an IT staffing and engineering company. We're home based in Des Moines, but his reach is more Chicago, Wisconsin area, and mine, at least out of the gate, is Iowa, Nebraska, and yeah, we'll get into it. But the why behind our company is what we're excited about.
Yeah, and actually, I'd love to hear more about that. I mean, 12 weeks old, that's not very long. I can't imagine what kind of funding issues you might be having, or even what kind of lead generation you're producing right now. And I want to get into those details. But yeah, why is it called the Mamba Group? And we got the why IT though, right? I mean, if you've been in IT for 26 years, I mean, it's very easy for us to fall into what we're good at, right? What we know. But yeah, why the Mamba Group?
Yeah, no, appreciate that. Yeah, so so I was actually on a missions trip with about 15 other people this past January. So I was in Mombasa, Kenya. So my wife and we've sponsored some kids through an organization for the last 4 or 5 years, and which was amazing. We've actually financially sent some money to put some wells there, and so just being able to put our feet on the ground and see the work, and I literally got to meet the kids that we sponsor. And so for me, it moved from this transactional thing I didn't really think about much on a monthly basis to wow, this really matters. And when I was there, I'm looking at these kids, these people, and like they're no different than me at all. I just happen to be born where I was born. Um, so I'm a super strong believer in faith guy, and it was really there. And again, so I'm in Kenya out of a job, looking at what's next, and it was really there that I felt like God planted in me. He wanted me to start a staffing company, which I didn't necessarily want to do. There
Okay.
are, in essence, 3,000 IT staffing companies in the US.
Okay.
Um, so there's a ton. And we're in a headwind market, meaning business is really challenging. Probably not the best time to start a business.
Okay.
Um, but the Mamba Group got formed there. And again, Mamba is short for Mombasa. The why behind it is now every placement we make, we are going to sponsor a child through this same organization I was there through called the Hope Foundation of Kenya. Um, so that is really the only reason that we get really excited about this because it's bigger than us. It's bigger than making money. It's bigger than growing a company, which we like to do. My business partner and I have had some really cool opportunities to in leadership roles over several years, and now we get to put. And again, my transparency, Gabe, is I got back from Kenya on this, and I was grumpy. I was like, have I really spent 25 years growing a career to start over? Right. And I was
Yeah.
grumpy about it. And within about 6 weeks, and we probably don't have time on this podcast to go into it, but within about 6 weeks, God really reorchestrated my mind and basically just said, Mike, I've given you 25 years of experience for you to go do this. You trust me. That's really what it was. And so the why around it, and for us, we get to sponsor kids for doing what we've done for all of these years. And now when we get to match talent with our customers, together we get to change the life of a child and potentially generationally change the life of a child. That excites me. And so we've got a ton of excitement and momentum around that. It's
Isn't that
different and we love it.
No, I love that. That's so interesting, and it's fascinating our whys when we do these things. And one of the things I've noticed in doing this podcast, speaking to a lot of different entrepreneurs and business owners, is the whys are not the same, and it's our world on how we perceive these things. So things happen to me, they might happen to you the same way, but how we perceive them is different, right? So my why might be generated by something like that. You're in Kenya, and what a place to be kind of at. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. All I know is that it's a powerful why, and I love powerful whys, and I could feel that.
Yeah,
Uh,
it is. And my wife is, you know, she wasn't as excited as I was, right? With the fear, the overwhelming
yeah,
fear.
yeah,
And we've, you've given a customer some amount of a lifestyle, and all of a sudden you don't know when your next paycheck's going to come.
yeah,
And I told her, I said, listen, you saw me for 4 months try to do everything I could not to do this. I wasn't
yeah.
setting out to start a company. I wasn't, but now I felt like it's the call. So now I'm just being obedient to the call. Like that's so I'm in, and
I
it's
hope
been cool.
I hope some of these questions don't scare you more. I'll try to make sure that the questions that you can answer for sure, being 12
Yeah,
weeks.
yeah.
But let's get into that a little bit because
Let's do it.
primarily this podcast is for new entrepreneurs and old entrepreneurs, just to kind of get a sense of that they're not alone in the struggle of what it takes to build a business. And so, who primarily does your business serve? If I were part of the audience, how would I know if I was a good fit for your business?
Yeah. So primarily, if I would say our target customer is going to be a company that probably has 300 to 400 employees on up to 3,000 employees. So not really small, but not huge. We're not going to be able to work with the many of the Fortune 100s. We're just not big enough yet, right? So, but I would just call it that mid-market company that in a lot of what you would do IT and engineering, right? But a lot of our focus over the years has been a little more slanted towards the IT side. So it's an organization that probably has an IT department of 40, 50 plus people, so fairly sizable. Um, and then we're going to help them find talent for their team. So directly placing talent for them, as well as what we call staff augmentation. So if they need to bring it, they've got project work and they need extra hands for a specific project, we'll bring in contractors. We'll recruit contract labor, if you will, on the IT and engineering side to help bring that talent in to help deliver their projects.
You ever run into like learning curve problems where, is there some type of learning curve at the beginning when you're temporarily placing someone
Yeah, I mean,
on a
there's
project?
always, yeah, I mean, there's always, it takes some time to get up to speed on internal
Sure.
organizations lingo.
Okay.
Technology, typically these folks will get into that pretty quickly, but it's just kind of learning the internal ins and outs of an organization. What's changed over the years substantially in our space, I would say when I got in the space, when you were looking for IT talent, I mean, you were fine recruiting people that sat in a cube and didn't talk to anybody. They just coded or did what they did.
Yeah, yeah.
What we find today is really organizations are looking for IT folks specifically that understand the business. that they want to learn the business, because now IT is it's a strategic part of most businesses. You know,
Oh yeah.
20, 25 years ago, it was more, hey, let's keep the light on, make sure emails are flowing, our
Yeah.
website's up. Like
Yeah.
IT is so much more than that today.
It was
Like
huge. Yeah.
it's strategic to most businesses today.
So do you feel that relationships plays a role? You talked about they want to know more about the business. Do you feel that like team development or in regards to anybody that you place that they kind of have to be a team player or decent with relationships in order to kind of fit into the new model?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So, and I'll just speak more from an IT perspective. A lot of organizations do work in what's called agile, which
Okay.
is really team focused. So you're literally working with a team day to day, doing daily stand-ups, doing scrum meetings, if you will,
Right.
on getting projects done and conversing back and forth. So just, ability to, just like any business, the ability to communicate
Yeah.
interpersonally is huge.
Good.
And that definitely has, I've seen change over the last couple of decades from an IT and engineering perspective.
Yeah, it seems that IT might be a little bit more solitude, right? A little bit more not relationship wise. Their relationships more with the work than with people, and
Right.
people have to kind of graduate. It's so immersive today. You kind of have to be good at that. You have to be good at communication, good at receiving communication, all of those things in order to fit in.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. And in general, you can teach the tech, right?
yep.
It's all the other intangibles. It's the soft skills. It's all the other things that you either have or you don't. I mean, you can learn and get better, but the tech side seems to be more the easy part today.
That's good. I'm always well, see here at the beginning, are you tracking your leads? How are you doing that right now? Do you have a program that you're using to track your leads?
Great question. Um, Yeah, I mean, and I'll call it leads. Our business is super relationship driven. I'm a still big believer that people still like to do business with people they like and they trust. And I'm fortunate. I've been in the space a long time. I've built a lot of relationships. I've not done it perfectly, but I felt like I've done business the right way. Um, for a long time, and so that helps. So we have a CRM and an applicant tracking system that we use that tracks, from that side of the house, our contacts, our follow ups, etc. We haven't, and we're early, so we're living on relationships today because we both have quite a few of them, and but at some point those run out, right? We went through those. So, I'll say probably as we turn later in the year, maybe even in the fall, that gets to be more important on lead gen outside. We actually haven't even we did a soft launch of the Momba Group in early April, which for us means we changed our LinkedIn profile and announced it. Um, we are targeting
I
more
love
of
it.
a hard launch. We're hoping mid-July. We're hoping July 15th, where our website's totally built out. We're going to press release. And so once we turn that engine on, that's when we'll start getting a little heavier in the lead gen side and getting our name and brand out there. That's the current plan.
Yeah, it's important to plug any holes in that pipeline, right? Make sure that we're constantly filling it up, at least in order for growth. So is it say so you come from the IT side? Did you come from sales, Mike?
Yeah. Yeah. So I grew up, and my business partner and I both really grew up on the sales side.
Okay.
Our tracks are pretty similar, from sales to sales leadership to executive leadership in the IT and engineering staffing space. So we grew up similarly. I'm the guy, and my partner too. Like, I love to hunt. I like to be the hunter. A lot of people don't. A lot of people
Yeah.
like to farm,
Farm, yeah.
and I love to hunt. And so, eventually the goal is to be able to, well, number one, we got to stand up business so we can pay ourselves, right? So that's certainly a number one, as I'm sure a lot
Pretty important.
listening and watching this podcast would get. So we don't do anything other than that first, but then, hopefully, Lord willing, we were able to gain some traction, hire some folks. So, our traction will be hiring, eventually an account manager or a couple of account managers that will start managing the accounts that we're bringing in. But right now, it's Keith and I will be doing every aspect as long as we need to. So
Yeah, I think that I'm excited for you. I've witnessed what happens when sales gets into business. I've witnessed what happens when service gets into business, and it's always very interesting to me when most business owners start a business because they're good at a part of something that they do, and they want to bring that, they want to do it for themselves, right? They want to
yep.
get away from having to report to somebody and build it from themselves. At this time, in regards to small business or business, um, do you feel that your the experience that you have, or let me ask it this way: have you run into any roadblocks or hurdles in starting this business so far, or any challenges that are worth mentioning here that you might have overcome?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's always challenges. Like for instance, we were on a phone call this morning, from an insurance standpoint.
Okay.
So we're still early enough stages. We're setting up all the ins and outs of the company. Like we're sales drumming. The easier part for us is going to engage clients. That's what we've done.
Yeah.
And in general, we've had teams that have handled some of these early setup pieces, right?
Sure.
And so now it's okay, we got to figure out, what holes do we have? Like, let's forget the business in general, out trying to drive it. We're still trying to plug a few things here. We've got to, we're big on outsourcing. Like, so we've outsourced back office. We've outsourced to a fractional accounting individual that will do our books for us. So we know what we're good at, and what we need to drive is, business development and recruiting. And so we want to as much push the easy button for all the other items in getting a business stood up. I will mention this. Um, so we're pretty faith forward as an organization, and we're in the day and age right now that some people may not love that, and that's okay. We did have a potential client that just actually a couple weeks ago declined to do business with us because of a religious affiliation. Um, and so that was disappointing for sure. But it's I guess for us, it's also a way for us to discern who's the right customer for us. And if and to us, if that's offensive, then okay, we'll go do business elsewhere, and that's okay. I
Okay.
mean, at the end of the day, our why is around really helping kids, and so we think that's a really good thing. Um, anyway, so but
Now,
those are just things that are going to happen, that we're just going to stay the course.
Mike, there's an important part of business where we get to choose how our business operates. It's a freedom that I believe in very much.
Yeah.
And even though I don't agree with all the ways business operate, I do believe in that freedom. And
Right.
so, but it also comes with the freedom of choice on whether or not to work with businesses too, right?
Absolutely.
So
Yep.
it has to be both. And to get upset about something like that would be beneath us, honestly. It would be
Right.
something that we've got plenty of challenges that we could throw some emotion at. It doesn't
Right.
need to be whether or not someone
Right.
might us on that basis.
Yeah. You just move forward, right? You dust
Yeah.
yourself off and you're like, okay, we'll keep going.
Next.
Not changing
So,
our direction.
um, where do you see the business going in, let's say, the next 3 to 5 years? What's it look like?
Yeah. Well, what I would love to see for us, I'll just give you a 5 year window. In 5 years, um, I would love to have built, we'll call it a $7 to $10 million top line revenue company. I would love to have, probably 4, 5, or 6 employees helping support what we're doing. Um, I would love to, what I really get excited about. So in our space and kind of sales in general, There's, you get to a point where you have a president's club, right? You take a trip for your top producers, right? And so, my dream, hopefully within 5 years, our president's club is going to Kenya. Like there's no question. We're not going to Cancun. We're not, I mean, we will take our team to Kenya. And that excites me because that will just fuel when we're able to hire employees. And I believe with our mission and our why, there'll be a lot of folks that want to come work with us when we're ready to hire. But to be
Well,
able to
there's a
take them to
target. You've got a target market, right, for your clients. You're also probably going to have a target market for your employees as well.
100%. Yeah. And like what really excites me, Gabe, is, when we've grown a team and we've had at least some amount of success, we get to take our team to Kenya and now they get to meet the kids
Yeah.
that they help sponsor because of their work every single day. And what I also get excited about as I think through long term is we don't really have to talk about revenues and profits. When we're talking about goals, it's going to be around quarterly and annual goals around how many kids are we going to sponsor? How many lives are we going to change of kids? And if that's our focus, like the other stuff will take care of itself.
Absolutely. That's,
Yeah,
I call it, instead of financial driven, I call that impact driven. And
absolutely.
it's something that everything will happen if you focus on impact. You're going to get all the money you ever wanted. Don't ever worry
Yeah.
about it. People are going to get all the fame, fortune, all that stuff. It comes with impact. And I'm a firm believer in that. It's one of the reasons why I started with business coaching. It's my impact is large and is going to be large.
Yeah.
Um,
And as we get older,
yeah,
probably not as old as I am, but as we get older, like, and again, money's important. It helps. It's a tool, right? It helps us
right.
have a little more comfortable lifestyle. Um, but man, it's life's so much more than that. Like to be able to impact people's lives, like that's pretty cool. And
It,
like for us, when our business model, like profitability and sponsoring kids are equal, like one is not greater than the other.
sure.
And that's why our commitment, we actually have our first placement starting on Monday next week. So we'll be an official company, Gabe, then, and we actually have revenue, but then we get to actually sponsor our first child. And so we're not waiting until we're making money as my business partner and we're not waiting until we're quote unquote profitable. Like our commitment is day one with every placement we make, we're going to sponsor a child. So yeah, that fuels us every single day.
Mike, we've got to kind of wrap this up. We covered a lot of ground in our conversation today, but I have a few rapid fire questions I want to fire at you. These are kind of quick top of head answers. So one word or one sentence to answer each one of these. You ready for
Okay.
this?
Yep.
All right, here we go. What is the key to success for you?
Purpose.
There you go. Impact driven. I love it. What is your one piece of advice for other business owners?
Don't let fear get in your way.
There you go. What is one book you're reading now or have read most recently?
The book I just finished reading that we're implementing is called The 12-Week Year.
Okay.
It's a great book. I don't have the author off the top of my head, but in essence, every um, every week is a month. So
Okay.
in essence, it drives sense of urgency over 12 weeks.
Sure.
Each week is a month. It just drives sense of urgency around what you're doing. And so in this next 12 weeks, what do we need to accomplish?
Okay. We'll find the author. And if you had to choose only one area of your business you could immediately improve tomorrow, what would it be?
Hmm. That's a tough question out of the gate because we need to improve everything. But probably the biggest, I guess what I would say, entering this business in the space that we're in, my biggest concern would be delivering talent, being able to recruit the talent. I would say we're doing a fantastic job. My business partner is kind of heading up that part of it, and he's done a fantastic job. So I wouldn't say I want to change that. I would just say that is critical for our business. It's great to have a why,
Yeah,
but at the end of the day, like we have to be excellent at what we do, and that's finding great talent for our customers.
absolutely. And before we get to the final question of the day, Mike, how can others learn more about you or your company? How can they get in contact?
Yeah, absolutely. So, our website is themombagroup.com. It's MOMBA, themombagroup.com. I'm on LinkedIn, Mike Rice. You can find me there. Yeah, so I'm out there. Google, you'll find me.
Perfect.
But yeah, reach out. We'd love to. Uh, I'm a firm believer is I love to network, and I'll have a cup of coffee with anyone because you never know where that might lead.
Isn't that the truth? Last question. What is most inspiring to you today?
Yeah, most inspiring me today is, the job that we do, we get to generationally change lives of kids. Like, yeah, that gets me out of bed every day. We
I
just
love
happen to do staffing.
Right. Yeah, it's just through
Yeah,
staff. Yeah.
through
As we
staffing.
finish up, I want to express my gratitude to you, Mike. It's been fantastic learning about your journey, both as, in your previous relationship with your business and as an owner now, a business owner today. And thank you for letting me take a sneak peek in there to see what you're doing now and what you got coming up. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And enjoyed it, Gabe. And be happy to do it anytime. Maybe we'll reconnect in a couple years on this and see where we're at.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see where you're going. All right, this has been the Business Owner Spotlight with Mike Rice, the co-owner of the Momba Group, and your host, me, Gabriel Moore, with Action Coach Business Coaching. Thank you for watching, and we're going to see you next time.